Hello, Mikuracutie here. It is April 2026 and I have reached Master 1 with the new best deck, which is Kewl. So I want to do a quick deck profile. If you know me, I like having some spice in my own lists, and Kewl doesn't have much room for innovation because Q has a very rough lock. After you use her effects, you can only summon tuners until the end of the turn. So what I came up with was using a Quem package, which I believe to be very underrated as a synchro engine. She has pretty much only been used in Bestial Runic before, which hasn't been a thing people play for a very long time. And for that reason, I'm very glad to be able to use her here. So most of the time I'm just summoning her off Q to get a free Amritara. When we'll send and summon Ecclesia, both are available for white tuners, which can go into the Amritara. That being said, I still try to pivot the deck normally. I do the normal lines to beat common hand traps and draw before I get information on the opponent hand. Only after I see their hand, I summon Quem of Q if I can unshove based on what they have. I have been saying, other than that, it's a mostly normal Kewl list. So for engine, I have every Kewl card at 3, except for the field spell at 1, Whip at 2, because while I like Whip at 3, there's no room in this deck. I'm already over 40 cards, sitting at 41. And then we don't run the trap is not very good. You almost always want to go for KTS when it comes to spell search opportunities. For non-engine, I have Gamma and the Driver, of course. They go into Amritara, so it's another option to go into Amritara. I have Reframing, which is what I'm searching of Amritara. I have 3 Veiler, 2 Drove, 1 Maxi, 1 Ghost Ogre, which can be summoned and activated from the field, 3 Ash Blossom, 2 Ghost Spell, which I would probably play at 3 if I had another copy, but these are the only copies I have. Then I have 1 Pot of Desires, 3 Synchro Overtake, 1 Cowby, 1 Crossout, and for the extra I have 2 Maker, 2 Remix, 2 Record Scratch, 1 Crackle, 1 Loudness, 2 Zaven, 1 Amritara, 1 Chaos Angel, 1 Back-to-Back, 1 Typhoon, and 1 SP. So these last 2 cards, Typhoon and SP, I strongly recommend you to always run in Kewl because they rarely come up, but when they do, they are literally the only cards that can get you off whatever sticky niche situation you are. And then the Chaos Angel is a response to Retaliating C mostly, because if you start your turn with Synchro Overtake and they go Retaliating C, then there is a line that ends on back-to-back, and on the opponent turn you are able to make Chaos Angel with some other interaction. And finally, I want to comment on Zaven and back-to-back. So I have 2 Zaven, 1 back-to-back. The second Zaven could be a second back-to-back, and the only reason I have it is in case the opponent clip gets to banish my Zaven. You rarely need the second copy if that was not the case, if opponent banishing your card was not a possibility. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. My personal thoughts on Kewl is that the deck is very, very strong. Anyone saying that it isn't, just isn't aware of what it can do. Because the board it looks deceptively weak. You end on, for example, 1 Zaven, 1 KTS, and 1 Remix. You look at it, you think it's like 3 interactions, but that's not the case at all, because you're going to be doing a lot of synchro summons during your opponent turn. You're going to be able to recycle a hand trap even. You're going to do searches. There's a lot that you can do. There's also the floodgates on the level. And most importantly, what I believe is the most toxic thing the deck can do is the hand reveal and top deck manipulation. Because basically it lets you... it turns the match sometimes into a solitaire game where you just play around draw until you get the hand reveal. And once you get to that point, you have all the information you have to perfectly sequence and interact with what your opponent has and basically give them no chance. But yeah, I really like this deck, and that's about it for the deck profile. If you watched my stream when the deck came out, you might remember that I was on Rocket Samsara, which lets me banish Amritara to summon either a Ice Heart or I summon Kaleido Heart, and then with the right setup I make Light and Darkness Chaos Angel with that Kaleido Heart. I believe that's not complete withdrawing, that is a very interesting spice option. But I had a skill issue where I couldn't, despite having perfect information on my opponent's hands, I couldn't pick the right boss to summon, and I couldn't pick the right timing. So I will probably try that again now that I'm more confident with the deck and took it to Master 1. But yeah, for the rest of the video you can enjoy some replays. Bye bye!